What if the loudest lawsuit in hip-hop right now isn't really about justice, but distraction? Imagine being dragged into a courtroom battle you never asked for, your name tossed around in depositions, your every tweet watched, not because you did something wrong, but because someone needed your noise. That's exactly the storm DJ Akademiks found himself in. A legal circus that started as a Megan Thee Stallion lawsuit and somehow spiraled into a tug-of-war involving Roc Nation, Nicki Minaj, and a mysterious case that nobody in the media seems to want to touch. At the center of it all is one chilling question. Was Akademiks being used? And did Nicki Minaj see it coming before anyone else did? It all started with what looked like a simple defamation lawsuit. Roc Nation, representing Megan Thee Stallion, went after a smaller blogger named Magro. On paper, it seemed straightforward. Defend Megan's name, clear her reputation, and shut down misinformation. But from the jump, something didn't make sense. Magro wasn't rich, didn't have a major platform, and reportedly didn't even have an attorney lined up. So why would one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world pour millions into a case they could never profit from? That's when DJ Akademiks' name suddenly appeared in the paperwork. He wasn't a co-defendant. He wasn't being sued. But Roc Nation's lawyers wanted him in the deposition chair, answering questions about Megan, Nicki, Drake, and anyone else connected to the chaos. The court granted it, and Akademiks showed up twice, facing questions that had almost nothing to do with the original case. If you're thinking, that sounds like overkill for a blogger case, you're not alone, because according to Akademiks, and later Nicki Minaj, the real motive was never about the lawsuit, it was about control. And as we'll see, it was about something much darker that most people completely missed. A few days after that deposition, Akademiks vented online. He blasted Roc Nation's attorneys on Twitter. Just did my second Roc Nation/Megan Thee Stallion deposition. That law firm wasting Jay-Z money. No more Nicki and Drake questions. They harassing real ninjas. He sounded frustrated, confused, and ready for war. But then Nicki Minaj reached out with a warning that flipped the whole story upside down. Nicki told him straight up, "You're expecting logic in a game that isn't logical. You're being used as a piece on the board. They want you loud. They need you angry. They need you to make noise while they move in silence." At first, Akademiks brushed it off. It sounded paranoid, even crazy. But the more he looked, the more it made sense. Every time he tweeted about Roc Nation, the timeline lit up. Every YouTube clip, every rant, every quote tweet. It dominated the algorithm. And while all that was happening, another lawsuit, one involving Roc Nation's CEO, Desiree Perez, quietly disappeared from the headlines. Nicki wasn't talking in riddles. She was warning him that he was being played. And that's when things got really strange. According to Nicki Minaj, the depositions weren't just about legal discovery. They were a calculated performance, a way to lure big personalities like Akademiks into the spotlight and make them the story, while the real story slipped through the cracks. She told him, "They need the loudest voices irritated at the same time. They need you to tweet. They need my fans to argue. They need everyone distracted because the docket they're trying to hide is explosive." In other words, Roc Nation's biggest enemy wasn't a YouTuber, it was exposure. And if they could flood timelines with petty legal drama, social media beefs, and courtroom gossip, fewer people would ever look into what was actually happening inside their own house. Nicki's words hit hard. You're in a game you never signed up to play. And for Akademiks, who built his brand on exposing the industry, it was a reality check. He thought he was fighting back by tweeting every update, but according to Nicki, that was exactly what they wanted, because attention is a weapon, and Roc Nation, she implied, knew exactly how to use it. So what was the real story Nicki was pointing to? A lawsuit filed by Desiree Perez's daughter, Demore Hadley, a name barely mentioned in mainstream outlets but detailed in scattered independent reports and blogs. The allegations were explosive. That Perez had used her industry power, government contacts, and even law enforcement ties to have her daughter forcibly institutionalized after refusing to leave her boyfriend. Court filings described what sounded like a staged mental health crisis, a doctor waiting in a parking lot, deputies following GPS directions, a so-called mobile crisis team that Memorial Hospital later said never existed. Demore claimed she was tricked, restrained, and taken against her will. She also alleged racial slurs, retaliation, and misuse of authority, all under the direction of her own mother, Roc Nation's CEO. When the case first dropped, it briefly caught fire online. But within weeks, it vanished. A gag order was issued, interviews were deleted, Videos that mentioned Desiree Perez got copyright struck off YouTube. Even Tasha K's coverage disappeared. For Nicki Minaj, that silence was the point. And in her eyes, Akademiks, with his millions of followers and non-stop commentary, was the perfect decoy. While everyone was arguing about depositions and Megan Thee Stallion questions, the DeMarie Hadley case was effectively erased from public view. Nicki believed Roc Nation wasn't fighting lawsuits, they were staging them. When Akademiks heard Nicki's theory, he didn't know what to think. He went back through his deposition notes, through screenshots, through messages from Roc Nation's attorneys. Then he noticed something weird during one of his depositions when he tweeted live from the courthouse. "They asking me wild shit about Drake." Someone in the Roc Nation chat allegedly typed, "Tell Dez." Dez, as in Desiree Perez, the same woman Nicki was warning him about. If the lawyers were working only for Megan Thee Stallion, why would they be reporting to Roc Nation's CEO about what Akademiks was tweeting? It didn't add up. To Akademiks, that was proof that Nicki might have been right. He wasn't just being questioned, he was being baited. And the more he reacted publicly, the deeper he fell into their plan. He even admitted later, "I wrote those tweets driving away from the courthouse, bro. I couldn't even wait till I got home. I thought I was exposing them, but maybe I was doing exactly what they expected." That realization, that he might have been an intentional pawn, hit him harder than any lawsuit could. Now here's where the story moves from drama to strategy. If Nicki's theory is right, Roc Nation's legal moves serve two purposes: control the narrative by keeping outspoken personalities tied up in legal drama, bury the real controversies by flooding social media with distractions and side stories. It's the same pattern we've seen across the industry for decades. When something explosive is brewing behind the scenes, something shiny and loud suddenly dominates the headlines. And who better to create that noise than people like Akademiks, who live online and speak to millions in real time? Almost like it was part of the show. By the time people stopped arguing over the depositions, the Desiree Perez lawsuit was already under wraps. No trending hashtags, no coverage, no accountability. That's 4D chess. And if that sounds wild, consider this. When Akademiks posted screenshots from his deposition showing Roc Nation's lawyers messaging, "Tell Dez," they didn't deny it. They didn't even seem surprised. The most dangerous weapon in media isn't money or influence. It's noise. You can't investigate what you can't focus on. By turning personalities into headlines, Roc Nation kept the public too busy debating personalities to notice the pattern. Every viral tweet, every YouTube clip, every fan argument about Nicki versus Megan, it all served one purpose: to drown out the story nobody was supposed to hear. Nicki Minaj's warning wasn't about paranoia. It was about pattern recognition. She'd seen it before. Every time a major controversy hit Roc Nation, a new distraction conveniently surfaced. And the more you look, the more the timing lines up. One docket goes silent, another story gets loud, one lawsuit gets gag-ordered, another deposition starts trending. It's like sleight of hand. And the audience never even knows the trick happened. Because while the industry painted her as crazy for calling out Roc Nation's tactics, Akademiks ended up describing the same playbook she warned about, in real time. On his own platform, he started to connect the dots publicly, tweeting that Roc Nation might be lining the whole industry up, that even other artists under the label should watch their backs. The entire situation went from gossip to chessboard politics, and now the fans were watching a different kind of war unfold. At the end of the day, nobody outside the courtroom knows exactly what Roc Nation's long game is. But one thing's clear: the louder the headlines got, the quieter that other docket became. Nicki Minaj warned Akademiks that he was in a game designed to keep him distracted. And whether you believe her or not, the results speak for themselves. The lawsuit she referenced is still sealed under a gag order. The videos are gone. And everyone's talking about depositions that might have been staged to make sure we never talk about anything else. Maybe it's all coincidence. Maybe it's all conspiracy. But in today's music industry, where power isn't just about money, it's about narrative, the idea that silence is engineered doesn't sound so crazy anymore. So ask yourself this: if everyone's shouting about the courtroom, what's happening behind the curtain? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe Nicki Minaj was exposing a bigger truth, or was this just another round of hip-hop chaos that got out of hand? Hit that like button if you enjoy deep dive breakdowns like this. Subscribe for more stories the mainstream won't touch. And remember, in the music industry, what you don't hear often says more than what you do.